Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. This message is a listener requested message speaking on the talkative mother. The talkative mother. I'm also adding to this message the mother who is rebellious, who is not one who is the least bit interested in the one true God. Her ego, her pride, her selfishness, her rudeness, her disrespect, her exaggeration, lies, and her abuse is what is keeping her at a distance from the one true God, as well as many members of her family and friends. I will tell you that those mothers, as well as those individuals that I had personally sat down with and talked to, the reason why some of them behaved in the way that they behaved was because they had been controlled. And so when they were around individuals who weren't controlling them, they just simply wanted a relationship, they didn't behave in appropriate ways. They were acting very much like those that had abused them. So she's finding a voice when she's with individuals who aren't controlling her, but now she is behaving like an abuser. She is finding a voice, but sometimes she's not quiet long enough to listen to what others are saying to her, because she's just so excited that somebody is listening to her. Even if she don't necessarily get along with the person who's listening to her. At least somebody is listening to me. At least I can get my point across. At least I can tell her and tell him, you see. And so, of course, this is a turnoff, especially for a son or daughter who's listening, because they're like, okay, how long am I going to have to listen to this? Or are you going to give me a chance to talk? Right? Sometimes there's just the mother who she's not rebelling and she doesn't have an ego trip or anything like that. It's just that she likes to talk. Right? But this listener is dealing with someone who is just not allowing a voice, a conversation, not allowing a connection, a meeting of the minds, not willing to compromise, I heard in the spiritual realm. This is a mother who is just repetitive in the things that she says and the things that she does. Even when the listener is saying, this isn't what I'm trying to explain to you right now. I mean, you're taking my words and you're twisting them. I'm seeing this in the spirit as well. If you would just listen to me and just stop talking, okay? I just want to share this one point. I mean, come on now. Can you just hear my side without judging me? I'm hearing all of this in the spiritual realm. When this is happening, you can interrupt. You can walk away. You can say, excuse me, but. You can say, is this what we're going to do? Is just listen to you? Because at that point, you may be a bit frustrated. You don't have to say anything. Of course, that's going to get you in trouble, right? But I know for some individuals, they just have to say something. And this is why there's the dishonoring that takes place. And now, instead of God working it out for you, you both are under a curse. I remember when my mother and myself, we were not having a meeting of the minds, and I heard in the spiritual realm, the Lord wanted me to be quiet, but I wanted to continue to talk. And I'm sure she felt something in the spirit, like she should just let it go, drop it, because she was good for, doing that. Drop it, right? But she didn't. Both of us, we kept talking. Let me tell you something. God put this wind. This wind came out of nowhere. And next thing you know, she said, my mouth is dry. My tongue is dry. Something's wrong. It's like it's sticking at the roof of my mouth. And I said, the same thing's happening to me. And we both experienced this at the same time. And I got nervous and I said, that's God. That's God. We got to stop. We're not getting anywhere. I managed to mouth that much. And then once we stopped, I kid you not, almost instantaneously, we had saliva back on our tongues. Our tongues weren't sticking to the roof of our mouths. And then she got up, she walked away at that point. That was just too disturbing. And me being that I'm a prayer warrior, been around, God has done some interesting things. I wasn't too spooked, but I knew that's it. There's no more, nothing else to be said. And so the remaining part of the visit, it was pretty quiet, and we only spoke unless we absolutely needed to speak. And when we did, we were respectful. I pray that something like that happens with some mothers and daughters and some mothers and sons. I really do. Because that's a wake-up call. That's a wake-up call before you end up saying something that you will regret. That's a wake-up call before somebody ends up doing something as a result of what was said. And that doing may be something that puts somebody on their back or in a grave. And some individuals, that's just what happened. Because the talking and the arguing and the yelling and the saying bad words and, being violent and all of that to get your point, that's 2-year-old type of communication. That's not mature adults. That's, I didn't get my way and when. That's, oh, you don't get me. You don't understand me. And they probably don't. So why keep beating, them up about it? I'm trying to make you can't make people accept you like you want you. You see? And in this world of please accept me, these folks is learning the hard way. And it doesn't matter how much programming or what all you've done. There will always be a person that's not going to accept you, like you, want to be around you, can't stand you, don't appreciate what you're saying, including a mother. That's why I said you got to stop with these titles. I wrote, tell me, mother, you're sorry. The more you put a title on someone and you just exaggerate and gloat over and, they're just so wonderful and all that, those are the ones that's going to hurt you the worst. I'm hearing refrain from your praise, refrain from all your gift buying, refrain from so much service, refrain from telling so much about yourself. Some folks, they know enough just by observing. We don't have to keep talking to them about who we are and what we represent and all this other. The mother, she knows quite a bit about you because she brought you in the world. That's why she, especially if you act like her, that's why she got problems with you. Because you remind me of somebody. Oh, I want to say it's your daddy. And then God says, it's not just his dad or her dad. It's also you too. You're stubborn, you're rebellious, you got ego, you're selfish, you're rude, you're disrespectful. Yes, I'm going to be all in when it comes to victims. I hear you. Let's talk about this. Well, how do you feel? What do you hope to accomplish? What do you want to gain from this? I mean, hey, I'm ready to have that conversation with the victim, but the victim better be ready to hear why things are happening, why they continue to happen, and why you got to do something to make a change, including distance yourself from the talkative person or distance yourself from certain topics related to the talkative person that puts them on edge. And as much as you would love to have that great, close, open communication with a mom, there are just some mothers that's not going to happen. That's who she is. People have learned to deal with her. That's why some of the other siblings or the relatives, on the daddy side or, the one she grew up with, that's why they can be able to tolerate her to a certain extent because they aren't caught up in or attached to like some of you all are. You say, I wish that I could be able to just let some things roll off my back and not have to prove my point. Okay, well then start by not talking so much. Start by not even opening up your mouth. Just go ahead on. Let her steamroll. Let her just run and run and run some more. And in your mind, you take all of what you learned from her in that moment, and you start to build up a plan in terms of how you're going to deal with her going forward. You see, the one that wants to name call, okay, I know how to deal with you going forward. I'm not going to deal with you. The one that wants to shout and act up and, tough talk, I'll knock you out. I'll put you on your back. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, that one right there, I know not to be in her physical presence because she might make good on it. And if she does, I know I'm not just going to fall down and just take it. I'm not the one. Every limb on my body is going to be used as a weapon at that point. So it's just best not to be around that one. You see, you're not going to ruin my day. And then, of course, you got another type of mom who, she's the one who, I bought you this, I bought you that. You say, yeah, okay. And then how do we deal with that? Come on now. You stop relying on her, right? You stop taking money from her. You stop asking questions. Like, Mom, do you think you can, Mom? Or asking her about her money. Why are you asking me about my money? You see? And then, of course, you got that other mom, right? The religious mom. She going to pull out scripture on you. She going to start talking about Matthew, such and such, say, Galatians, say, blah, blah, blah. She might even send you some scriptures or what have you. A mom like that. She going to keep talking and talking about Jesus. Or she going to talk about you. And you know that unless you're willing to receive the truth, you might want to be a bit distant in your conversation, especially when it comes to faith, because some moms can just run rings around their children when it comes to scripture because they are in the church and they've studied and they've got their degrees and all this. Because I had a mother-in-law that was like that. And then, of course, there are those individuals, and it doesn't matter, mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, whoever, talkative, and they like to hear themselves talk. They ego trip. They like to brag, right? Oh, I got this, I got that. Let me tell you what I bought the other day. Oh, and and what do we do? Well, I've listened to them over the years, and then I changed the subject. And I talked about something I wanted to talk about. And then when their eyes rolled over or they acted like they didn't want to talk, guess what? You're not on my top list to call or come around. You see, because people show you who they are when they talk. That's why God allows the communication. It's Him. You may be praying, I wish that she's not going to talk so long today, right? But there's something to be learned, to be received in the talking. And of course, the ear doesn't want to hear a bunch of talking because the ear enjoys looking at the phone. Or not the ear, the eyes. The eyes enjoy looking at the phone and tuning into whatever's in the phone. Or they enjoy, looking at everything else but the person who's talking. But this may be the day that what comes out that person's mouth might save you. This might be the day that you learn something new about that person. This might be, my whole point is to look at the positive, to get what you can from the past conversations if you decide to go low contact, no contact going forward. Well, what could I have learned from the last conversations? And then maybe I'll use this for a future connection with this person. It doesn't have to be, cutting them off forever and always. You see. But there's various tactics, to interrupt a talkative person. There's the, let me tell you, let me, and then at some point they're going to say, yes, go ahead. What? You see. Then there's the, excuse me, Got to share this. This is very important. There's the quiet. So quiet that even when they ask you a question, you don't answer. And they say, "Are you still there? Are you still there?" Now you can jump in with what you wanted to say. You see. You can do the same thing with a text. Person goes on and on and on and on with the text, and then they get to the question part, and then you don't respond. Oh, you gonna let me text? Oh, you gonna let me text? You see. And then of course there are those individuals that they just, I don't know, there's something wrong inside the mind, and so this is where you can politely say, "I'm sorry, but I gotta go. I'm ending the call right now." Or, "I'm leaving," and you are moving your feet as you walk out the door. Or the walk up to them, touch their shoulder when it's a relative, somebody that you know. "Gotta tell you something. Gotta get this in, okay? All right, are you ready to listen? Are you ready to listen? Okay." And then you make it short, sweet, quick, and then go. Gotta go soon after. Same thing with the text. You said what you need to say. You already know you got paragraphs upon paragraphs. And now you say, "Back to work." That way they know you're not going to respond. You're not going to respond to whatever they got going on afterward. At least not in that moment. You can let them stew. And some of you all, that's what you do. Anyway, I hope that this is useful, not just to the listener who reached out about his mother, but also to some of you others as well, or her mother. Another thing, though, is when it comes to the talkative person, a lot of times the reason why, especially with a mom, she feels like she has to say so much to you is because sometimes you're doing things and you're saying things that she feels like, "Oh my goodness, your life is a hot mess. I got to talk to you. I got to tell you about yourself." And so during those times in my life where I didn't just have the mother, but I had the grandmother, I had somebody else's mama talking to me, I had a stranger on the street who felt led by Jesus to talk to me, the mothers at work, the mothers at the church. I had so many mothers around me. That's why I could write, "Tell me, mother, you're sorry." That during that stage in my life, it was listening. It was listening and observing. Because I didn't know enough to be saying too much of anything. And then what I did know, it sounds stupid coming out my mouth. I'm just going to be honest. Compared to what they knew, woo, come on. So, just for some of you all, you just got to admit that you just don't know what she knows. And just sit back and you just learn, okay? You just learn. And some mothers, they don't talk at all. Not like what you think a mom should. And so when they do speak, you need to be taking notes, okay? Because she may not be talking again. And those mothers are rare, but they're out there. And I had a grandmother on my dad's side who was like that. She wasn't one for doing all that talking at all, okay? I think over the years, she probably yelled and talked herself out because her voice was so soft. So there is the good and, the not so good when it comes to moms and communication. And you just have to be the one to control what you can control. And that's you and what comes out your mouth. Okay. And what doesn't come out your mouth. When I was making a bunch of stupid decisions in my life, I knew that I didn't have a leg to stand on when it came to defending those decisions. So it was just best that I be quiet. But as I got older and I learned from those decisions, I got wise. And I asked the Lord to continue to increase my knowledge, my wisdom, and to lead me and guide me. And so that's what happened over the years. So when you're a communicator, when you're a speaker, you can't afford not to speak, even if it is at times a bit long. A lot of people on the channel, over 16,000, a lot of subject matter in this spiritual realm. And so you've noticed over the years, the messages got longer. I used to have the 10, the 15, the 20-minute messages. But when you got that many people that the Lord is showing you in the spiritual realm, and they're going through their share of issues, you're going to be a bit talkative, right? So talking is not always a bad thing, but it is a bad thing when you're being disrespectful, when you're being rebellious, and it's a one-sided type of communication. And then on top of that, when you do finally sit down long enough and listen to someone, then you don't even take the advice. And that's the way we are with the one true God. We're doing a lot of talking, and I have to ask somebody, are you doing a lot of talking concerning what you want, what you need from the Lord, but you're not willing to listen to him? That's a one-sided relationship, and no wonder you don't grow spiritually. It's always about what you want, what you need, what God gonna do for you. Really? So this could be an issue with some of these mothers as well, is that their ego, their pride, their selfishness, their rudeness is showing up because of the lack of relationship that they have with their Creator. Their Creator is knocking on the door and they're not opening. Open that door for everybody else and anything else, but not opening the door for the one true God. And this is why a lot of these mothers are going to, over time, see that their relationship with children and grandchildren is going to slowly come to a short end. Because if you are steamrolling over conversations with the one true God behind closed doors, oh, okay, no wonder you're steamrolling over conversations with the people around you. So ask the Lord to help you with that. Listen more so, right? 2 ears for listening, only one mouth. There's a good reason for that. I thank you as always for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen. Thank you, listener, for reaching out, and may God richly bless you as well as those that you love.